Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Stihl RB 400 pressure washer. Customer just dropped this off at the shop, said it's having problems staying running. First thing I'm going to check is the carburetor, so let's jump into the video and I'll show you how to do that. Start by removing the wing nut on top of the air filter cover. Underneath that is going to be the air filter. There's also going to be a wing nut on top of the air filter holding it in place. Go ahead and remove that as well. Next, remove the two nuts that hold on the carburetor housing, and that's going to drop off the plastic piece here and then expose the carburetor. Now there's three things you have to disconnect to be able to remove the carburetor. First thing is going to be the fuel lines, the next is going to be the throttle linkage, and lastly is going to be the wiring harness. This particular unit has a fuel shutoff on the carburetor, but when you're trying to remove the fuel line from the carburetor, there's not going to be a shutoff. So you're going to have to either clamp that or use a pair of needle nose pliers like I did to hold it in place. There's one clamp that holds the fuel line onto the carburetor and secures it in place. Go ahead and remove that clamp first, and now you can pinch the fuel line with your needle nose pliers and remove it from the carburetor. You're going to need a bucket or something to catch the fuel in, depending on how full your tank is. This one was completely full by the customer, so it had almost a gallon of gas in it. What I'm going to do with this carburetor is I'm going to take this cap off the bottom. I've already removed the fuel. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing here. So taking this off, and I'm going to drop this in my ultrasonic cleaner for about 20 minutes, and then see if we can clean up the problem with the carburetor, and hopefully it works when we reinstall it. I did reinstall the carburetor after I cleaned it and tried to run the unit. It still would not run, so I ended up buying a new carburetor and putting it on the unit, and that's what I'm doing right here. I had to plug the fuel line because I had put fuel in there just to test the carburetor after I had cleaned it. The new carburetor from Kohler actually has new gaskets in there, so I went ahead and replaced the gaskets as well when I reinstalled the new carburetor. And it's also got a new choke lever, so I did put that on as well. So again, with reinstalling, you're going to have the 3 points. You're going to have the fuel line at the bottom there. You're also going to have the linkage at the top. And then at the very bottom, you're going to have the wiring harness. Don't forget to reinstall your clamp on your fuel line so that way your fuel line doesn't come off when the machine's running. And here goes the other new gasket on the front. When you reinstall this housing, make sure that your fuel lever as well as your choke lever are both in the appropriate holes, so that way you're able to run it properly. Otherwise, if you do put the bolts on there and you don't have those in the hole slots, you're going to have to remove this housing again to realign those. And I'm telling you this because I actually learned the hard way. I had everything assembled, and then I realized that my choke lever was outside the plastic molding. So go ahead and reinstall the air filter. I did check this out to make sure it wasn't dirty beforehand. There is a pre-cleaner on the outside of the filter that you can wash with soap and water if it does become dirty. All right, going to top it off with a little more fuel, then I'm going to take it outside and see if it starts. Overall, not a terribly difficult repair. As far as the carburetor goes, I do try to clean them out one time. It's about a 50-50 chance if the ultrasonic cleaner will actually take care of the issue or not. Sometimes you just have to go ahead and reinstall the carburetors. I would, however, highly recommend that you go with OEM instead of aftermarket, because I found most of the time the aftermarket stuff that you buy on eBay or Amazon does not work the same as going with the OEM stuff. I knew the OEM stuff does cost more money, but keep in mind you're not really saving any money if you have to tear it back off and go buy the OEM one in the end. So again, just keep in mind when you're putting it back together, the two little hang-ups that I had were the fuel shut-off as well as the choke, making sure that you're getting those aligned back into the molding properly before you secure everything and put it back into place. Other than that, pretty straightforward repair. Thanks for watching the video. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to our channel.